Hey, it's me. It's animated me. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and it's time for another episode of Completed It. Movie reviews, pop culture, celebrity guests, and all that good stuff. Oh, and my good friend over there, Sasha Alari, as my co-host. Hey, Satch, hit the titles, brother. Welcome everybody back to Completed It. It's Monday. You know what that means. It means the catchphrase that is taking the country by storm. But it's not, it's just me. Marvelous. Monday is back upon us. We are here to talk all things Doctor Strange, movie number 14, I believe, in the Marvel cinematic universe. Two of my co-hosts are with me today. He's back. He's been very busy man. He's been busier than any of us. Neil, how are you, sir? Welcome back.
No, thank you, sir. It's good to be back. Good to be back. I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We've missed your dulcet tones. We've held off on the Nightmare on Elm Street chat yet because we wanted you on that one. So that's coming
Mm.
later in the week. At the bottom of the screen, Stash, how are you, brother? Happy Monday.
All good, man. All good.
Good stuff. Last
Yeah.
week's show gone down a storm, by the way, bro. The one that me and you done talking Civil War. Gone down a
Oh,
storm.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
okay. I haven't looked at the numbers, but
Yeah, many
okay.
people commented on to me how much they enjoyed the Civil War chat. There's a few people that some people said to me it was their best Marvel film of all time, and three people said to me it's the biggest pile of shit they'd ever seen Marvel do. And I'm like,
They
this
don't know
is
what they're
why,
talking
yeah, I'm like,
about.
this is why we like movie. Go on. I think one of the
Yeah.
comments on YouTube, if you click on the comments under the Civil
Mhm.
War thing, so, gentleman, I forgive you. Sorry, sir, I forget your name. Basically hated the film.
Wow.
This is like long thread of him basically not liking the film.
Oh, wow.
But we
Well,
are on to the next installment, Doctor Strange, October the 4th, 2016, in the good old US of A. Doctor Strange hit our movie screens with a budget of about $236 million. This movie it ended up making like $677 million. Doctor Strange was fully introduced into
Mhm.
the Marvel universe. We've done many of these. This is one of my favorite films. It's probably one of the shortest Marvel films as well. I rewatched it like
I
three or
agree.
four days ago, and I'm like, an hour and 27 minutes. I'm like, wow. When you look at things like Endgame and Infinity Wars, you're like, geez, they really did. But they crammed everything into one movie. Essentially, neurosurgeon Dr. Stephen Strange, in a nutshell, has a car accident, wants to get better, and becomes one of the most powerful sorcerers in the world. In a nutshell, that's Doctor Strange. Neil, let's break it down, bro. We haven't spoke to you for a while. What did
Mhm.
you make of this movie, my friend?
I really enjoyed it when it came out. I think it was just like it was nice, just a nice kind of straightforward, just movie, just a nice introduction to a character. Um, yeah, there was nothing about it that I was like, okay, this is a bit out there, this is a bit off. But at the same time, I am a huge comic fan. I know exactly who Stephen Strange is, so I was watching
Hmm.
it with a significant amount of prior knowledge.
Did they explain
Um,
it enough for those that weren't comic book
yeah,
fans?
I think they did. They did explain it enough, and it was like, they used obviously exposition comes in every movie, but they used it well because it was just like, no, 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 no. Here's where we are. Here's what's going on. Here's how this is. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. I think one thing I really want to touch on
Hmm.
is that one of my really good friends is in the movie.
Yet we are sitting here without them.
Yes, we are sitting here because they are an extra and they are in the
Oh,
movie for what can classify as about half 1.5 seconds.
that's 1.5 seconds more than me.
Yeah, they're in the film, and I was like, that's cool. But that's actually not what I wanted to touch on. Is there is a piece of dialogue in that film, and to me, it's the best piece of like connectivity in all of the MCU. Right before Stephen Strange has his accident, when he's in the car and he's on the phone,
Hmm. He's trying to talk the
um,
geezer through the operation.
yeah, he's talking to Giza through the operation. That operation is on Rhodey from Civil War, who has his spinal injury. Yeah, the
Fuck me, sir.
he's talking about Rhodey. When he talks about it, he's like, oh, we've got a Air Force pilot, spinal injury, blah 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 blah. And I was like, that's Rhodey. You're talking about Rhodey because obviously Civil War, the film
Hmm.
before it, Rhodey breaks his spine.
Yeah. by falling from the sky and like flying
Yeah.
dark. Wow. Fucking
So
hell, I never knew that.
yeah, and I think this is what I mean. Is that's why I say
This is why we've
best
missed
level
you the
of
last 2 weeks, bro. We need
this is
these. Like
why.
you're like the Yoda of Marvel. I've always said it.
Mhm.
See, this is why. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. But great. Was this a time, Neil, where they were Marvel were going? So we had Civil War with me and Sash got into last week, where they introduced Spider-Man. We
Mhm.
introduced Black Panther. Was this Marvel saying, of, right, look, we've taken it to point A. We now
Yeah.
need to go to B, C, D, and E to get to, because they kind of now, when you look at it, you've got like Ragnarok and a few others, but you're kind of getting to like Infinity Wars now, and then
Yeah.
you're getting to Endgame. Was this Marvel's way of going, right? We're going to give you a lot more now, knowing what's coming down the line in, say, 2017, 2018.
I mean, I think by the time we got in reality, by the time we got to Civil War, there was a definitive plan
Mm.
of where we were going. And I think I'm gonna say from maybe Civil War, maybe, yeah, I say from about Civil War onwards, every film was put in place to set up what was coming next, to set up the that the Infinity Wars
Hmm.
and Endgame. Everything was being put in place to set that up. And Doctor Strange was a nice thing about that. It was okay, well, we're introducing you to Doctor Strange, and it's like, okay, all his powers really and truly, it was just, like, and I don't say this to throw any disrespect to Doctor Strange, but this whole movie was essentially just to introduce you to the Time Stone.
Mm. One of the comments we got online was, um, I'm just reading it. Why did the Doctor Strange never open a portal and just sling Thanos through it?
Because it wouldn't, what would they do? Okay, you're gonna open a portal and send him to what? Antarctica.
No,
Okay, cool. Now you don't know, he's in Antarctica, you don't know exactly where, and you've now given him time to plot, plan,
coming
scheme,
back.
come up with anything else, and then come back even stronger and come back now when you're expecting him, but don't know exactly how to expect him.
Because a lot of people, there's that argument of, oh, we're going to get to it quite a way down the line.
Yeah.
Obviously, Captain Marvel. There's a lot of talk of like, did they leave it too late to introduce her? And it's the same aspect with Stephen Strange. Like you said, you read the comics, you knew the
Yeah.
story. Did Marvel? Was this the perfect time to introduce him? Could he have been introduced before? Because when you look through back on all the movies you've done, I don't
Mhm.
think he like, obviously there's no, because his accident hadn't happened. He's like starting afresh. It's like Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. He literally has his accident, and on trying to repair himself,
Mhm.
becomes this all being all singing one of the
I
most
mean,
powerful people in the Marvel universe.
yeah. I mean, my answer to that, when people say about introducing people earlier and should have done this, you should have done that, like hindsight is 2020. People can always say, "Oh, you should have done this and you should have done that." I'll ask a very simple question. Go back to 2008 when we got Iron Man.
Hmm.
If you can name me any casual comic book fan who was like, Doctor Strange should have been the next movie, I'm gonna call you a liar. No one would have cared. If all of phase one, nobody would have cared who Doctor Strange was. You wanted to
Yeah.
see the biggest guns available, right?
Mm.
Let's be blunt. You wanted to see the biggest guns available.
Yeah. Which.
Even phase two, the end of phase two, let's say we take Ant-Man out and we put Doctor Strange in,
Hmm.
right? It would have been a great movie. And this is changing nothing. You change nothing that's taken place.
No.
It'd have been a cool movie. It'd have been fun. Wouldn't have You wouldn't have cared,
Mm.
right? The end of phase two, which was Ant-Man, to phase three, part one end, right, was all about establishing these are the characters who are going to be important, not just like, oh, we're throwing out characters because you want to see them.
Mm.
We're throwing out characters, situations, items that will be important. And the best way to make you care about, Doctor Strange's decision to give up the Time Stone. I'm jumping ahead, but his
Yeah.
decision to give up the Time Stone, or that moment when he's doing all the magic stuff and he just goes like that to Tony.
Yeah.
You're not going to care about those things if they come at the wrong time.
Mm.
everything has to come in its time. So when people are like, oh, should have done this earlier, no, they shouldn't. Because if it gave you the opportunity to remove a film and put that film in place, you wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah. No, you're
So,
right. Yeah, no, you're right. Sash, does when you watch things like Doctor Strange, and we're moving forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 next, and
yeah.
then Thor Ragnarok. In your opinion, boys, does this prove how good the writing of any Marvel movie is? Whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which is up next, which has James Gunn in it, which is a very James Gunn movie when you watch it. I recently just watched it this morning, or when you do look at things like Doctor Strange. Now doing these every Monday, does it really give testament to how good writing a Marvel movie is and how they're forward thinking? You look at anything, it could be a soap opera, it could be anything. You look at Star Wars, you look at and they only originally had to build Star Wars over 3 films. When you now look back at it, the Marvel universe, you think geniuses. Absolutely, because you, like Neil just said, if you had given us Doctor Strange when Iron Man was here, so no, you didn't. You made us wait, and it wasn't a thing back then. And then you eventually gave us Ant-Man, you gave us Doctor Strange, you gave us Black Panther, you gave us Spider-Man. The genius now, when you look back at the whole Marvel universe that is still going on in 2025, you think you guys are actually comic book and movie geniuses. We moan all the time, but we don't get this which is a comic book movie. Why haven't we got this? And again, it comes back to the argument of Superman this year. Did they try and give us too much, etc., etc.? With Marvel, I think, bar a couple of movies which we can argue about, Thor, Ragnarok, etc., I think Marvel gave us everything at the right time, at the right place. And now when you look back at it, even when you're scrolling through Disney Plus and you're looking at all the movies going along, you're thinking, geniuses, absolute geniuses. Does that give you, like, Sash, does that point to just great movie making, great writing, great directing, great, because they're just human beings plotting this universe. They're just out there and they're like, we're plotting the comic book world for us as fans. When you now look at it, things like Doctor Strange, I love this movie. Pure genius, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah, this one, at this point, Marvel could do no wrong. They're untouchable. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think at this point in the MCU, they've done no wrong. You know what I mean? They're smashing.
Hadn't made a bad movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, me, like,
Okay, Neil's going to come back in a minute.
movie. I like this movie. It's entertaining.
Iron Man 3.
But there's the but. I've never cared for Doctor Strange. I've always thought he's a bit of
What?
an arrogant piece of shit fucker, and he can't. I remember whenever I'd get a Spider-Man comic, or more importantly, an X-Men comic, and he'd just pop in, and he'll have loads of speech bubbles, and I'm like, fucking magic wandy shit. Fuck off, mate.
You were like, yeah,
yeah.
That's what you mean. You read a comic, you
didn't care for him and his attire, and I didn't care. In terms of the movie, yeah, great origin story. Made me kind of care about the most boringest person in comics. I stand by that. I'm sorry, guys. Don't get mad at me in the comments.
You mean Wolverine's not the most boringest person in comics?
How dare you?
In my opinion, just my opinion, I know everyone's got different opinions, but for me growing up as a kid, whenever I saw my man in a comic, I'm like, Doctor Strange, where's this weirdo fucking in Spider-Man?
They did used to draw him really badly in the comics. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Did they?
I thought so. I thought the animation of Doctor Strange growing up.
Okay.
Even now, when I look at it, and I've done a few things, I've got a few comics somewhere floating around in my house that he's in it. I think even the animation of this dude was crap. So I get your point. But you like the movie?
Yeah, I like the movie. I think, like I said, at this point, Marvel could do no wrong. They made me give a shit about Doctor Strange. I love the Dormammu standoff at the end.
Yeah. Introduce one. I love him. What a character.
Yeah.
One of the most underrated characters in Marvel, I think. He's such a good sidekick, if you know what I mean. His comment, like when they eventually get him to break and he is actually funny.
Oh, yeah.
That for me is when Marvel do funny really well. Sorry, mate, Carol.
But everything you said, man, like it's an enjoyable ride, man. So yeah.
Yeah. Sash, do you don't think the story was like I said at the start, 1 hour 27 minutes? I remember when I hit play, I was thinking, "Fuck, this won't take me long. I'll make my notes as I'm going along." For Marvel, did they rush it? You look at some origin stories. We go back to the Iron Man, and we go back to certain movies that they've done, and you're like, they tell us everything. Was this like car accident? Wants to be healed, finds magical wizard, becomes magical wizard, can potentially save world.
I mean, does it matter? I mean, X-Men, the original X-Men is like 90 minutes, and they build a whole world and they introduce you to multiple characters. The movies is good. A movie's as good as how long, like there's an art to telling a story in a short period of time, and also
Yeah.
it's to do with pacing, how much the audience are actually interested with the subject matter on screen and in own time. Pacing is everything with films, you will find the right pace for the right character for the right, for the right movie. So, if Doctor Strange required a quick pace and people liked it, quite a quick pace and people liked it. There's no there's a real art to that, man. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
also, they probably did it that way. They probably did it that way to get more butts on seats. That's what
Yeah,
they used
I
to do
mean,
in
it
the
has
80s.
the,
That's the
the
whole
shorter
point.
time.
You put the movie at 90 minutes, we got more screenings in the day, to get more people in. That's
Mm.
there
That's the
there is
point.
a
That's the point.
there is that behind it. They just spent 235 million. Disney want their money back. So, I mean,
This movie alone in the box office made $677 million.
yeah, that's about
Remember when that was a success?
Yeah, now you
yeah.
know,
The good old
yeah,
days when
So,
that was a highly
yeah,
successful
yeah.
movie.
So this is
yeah.
why
If
when
an Avengers
Fantastic Four and
movie comes out next
Superman
year and makes
do.
that, whoa, someone's getting fired.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Several people are getting fired.
yeah.
But then this is why Fan 4 and Superman weren't flops, because I think the problem is you got to understand before the Marvel films, and before the Harry Potter films before them, um, not many films made $1 billion. You know what I mean? And then when Harry Potter started making $1 billion for Warner's every 5 minutes, it became evident you had to grow a franchise. And Marvel became $1 billion IP. Same with Star Wars. Star Wars was up there. Um, however, when something makes 500 million,
Mhm.
like a Tron or a Mission Impossible. I think Mission Impossible is probably the best example of this. All of those films, bar one of them, has only made $1 billion. You know what I mean? And that was Fallout with Henry Cavill, which is the greatest one of them all. All right. And do you know what I mean? But before that, it was like 600, 600, 500, 400, 300. Do you know what I mean? Mission
Mm.
Impossible was never $1 billion franchise, but with these last two, they treated it like $1 billion franchise. And it's like, well, you guys are playing in a ballpark that nobody cares about. You know what I mean?
Mm. Trying to
Tom,
touch
you're getting a bit
Marvel.
too big for your britches. And even with DC, they're starting off the universe from scratch. So 500 million for Superman was a win. I mean, I think it was 570. So that was a big win for them. Yeah, it didn't make as
575.
much as Man of Steel, but that's neither here nor there. No Superman movie has cracked $1 billion to this day. You know what I mean? Like, period. So they did well with that gun Superman. And Marvel, if you look at all the first entries for all first IP Marvel films, they're not $1 billion IP. So Fantastic Four coming in at 500 and whatever million that it came in. One, it's the highest grossing Fantastic Four film. And
Mhm.
second of all, considering the last film was like the fucking fan four stick fucking bullshit, that's
Mhm.
good innings because
Yeah.
that film was shit.
One slight correction.
Yeah, yeah.
Black Panther did 1 billion.
Uh,
That's the
Yeah, yeah,
only
that is the only
that's the
one. That's the
only
only exception.
yeah.
Mm.
I think, but you know what it was with Black Panther? They introduced the character first. You know what I mean? In
You
Civil
know
War.
what? I don't even think it's necessarily the introduction of the character. I think it's just the
Yeah.
again going back to what Andy said about things arriving at the right time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It arrived at the right time. It the audience it needed to capture, it fully captured. And
Yeah.
Mm.
And
And
it
in
was
your
coming
mind,
off
when you're
of,
watching Civil War, you're like, well, I'm getting more Spider-Man, I'm getting more Black
yeah,
Panther. At the end, Doctor Strange, when he's sitting down the end credits where he's chatting to Thor, they're now going to go and
Mhm.
look for Loki. You kind of knew what you, so the
yeah.
next movie that you saw Doctor Strange in was,
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
yeah, oh, God, it was in Ragnarok when you see Doctor Strange next, and then you're heading to Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it's is there a movie while we're quickly talking about it? Is there a movie franchise then
Mhm.
that can financially compete with Marvel on a real level now?
That can or that has.
Has can you know what I mean? Because like Sasha's 2016, Marvel could do no wrong. they hadn't really made a bad movie. It's up for debate, Iron Man 3, etc. But money-wise, they hadn't really made a bad movie.
I think the problem with that question is you have to think of what film landscapes looked like when these films came out. Because for argument's sake, you could say
Because
the
it was all Marvel
Fast
then,
and
though, wasn't it? You were
Furious,
getting
you could say
three
the
a
Fast and
year.
Furious franchise, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that those films live up to the heights of the Marvel films, but you know, Fast 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and X were highly profitable movies
And highly
Yeah.
shit.
on par with outside of the billion club.
But if you look at that
Most of
franchise,
the
they
MCU films.
couldn't make 3 movies in a year and then be successful for the on-screen viewer. Marvel used to bang out 3 movies a year, and they were all bangers.
I
That's
don't, I
so
don't
True,
hard to
think
do.
but Marvel have one issue. One issue. Marvel have one luxury that no other franchise outside of say your DC films has, and that is you can make a film per character. Like,
Mm.
you can't have like the James Bond franchise. You can't make a film and it's like, this is a Moneypenny film, this is an M film, this is a Q film. The Fast and Furious, you can't have his Dom's film, his latest film, his Roman's film, right? It doesn't run like that. It has to be the ensemble. You when they branched off and you gave us Hobbs and Shaw, it wasn't it,
Oh,
it
that.
didn't really capture the audience the way it was supposed to,
No, it's so bad.
purely because it was like, I don't want to see just one of you. I want to see all of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even to a degree, Star Wars, right? You know, when okay, there's a lot of issues that happened with Solo, but at the same time, it was like Star Wars is an experience. You experience all these characters together, how they interact, how they do these things. With Marvel and with DC, you have people who solely want to watch Superman. You have people who solely want to watch Batman. You have people who solely want to watch Thor or Captain America or Iron Man. And that's why you can pump out 3 movies a year. And you're like, oh, but because you pump out 3 movies a year and you're like, I just want to see Thor. Here you go. I just want to see Doctor Strange. Here
There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah.
I just want to see, the Avengers. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good points, mate. Good points. Boys, while we're talking Marvel and why all three of us are here, some big news that me and Sash, I think it broke not long after we recorded last week. Warner Brothers
Mhm.
could be getting sold, could be getting like kind of moved sideways. There's been a lot of stuff online. I'm hearing, I read a good report yesterday that like the front runner to purchase everything Warner Brothers is now Netflix. We mentioned in our group chat in the week, we got a little back and forth with everyone. So everyone watching this now, we can do it face to face kind of thing.
Yep.
With Warner Brothers potentially being sold,
Mhm.
moved to rebranding, I don't know what we're going to call it. Is it getting sold? If something like a Netflix got Warner Brothers boys, I think I put in our group chat, could this be slowly the demise of cinema, of movie making as we know it? Because if I was chatting to someone the other
I
day,
think this is a
could you want
whole
to?
other podcast.
Oh
I
yeah, we're
think,
not going to get into it, but it's just
yeah,
news
yeah,
while
yeah.
we're
I think
here.
that,
It
yeah,
impacts
Quick,
Marvel,
yeah.
but if Netflix got something like Warner Brothers, and we probably can do a whole show on this.
Mhm.
If Netflix got something about like Warner Brothers,
Mhm.
my only worry would be that my films I want to see in the cinema wouldn't even be on there for a week. They'd be straight onto my platform on my TV. I love the new, for whatever reason, I love the new Beverly Hills Cop. Things like that. I'd love to have seen
Yeah.
that in the cinema for a
I
week. It
think
wasn't the best movie in the world,
Yeah.
but do you think now we're going down a path that, what's the Star Wars saying, Sash? This is a pathway you don't, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
You're going down a path that I cannot follow.
There you go. I Warner Brothers going
Short
down a path
answer,
that I cannot follow.
yeah. Short answer is this. The only people who should purchase Warner Brothers should be another film studio. It shouldn't be a Netflix. It shouldn't be an Amazon. It
Amazon,
should be.
yeah.
And now, yes, I am a cinema purist. Going to the cinema is my going to cinema for me is like going to church for a good, for a good Christian or Catholic boy,
Amen.
right? And I say it like this. The problem we have now is we used to have we used to have levels of studio. You had your massive studios, your Warner Brothers, your Foxes, your Disneys. Then you had your mid-range ones, your Touchstone Pictures and all of that, right? You had your lower tier, which were like the Caracos of the world, right? And they put out all these films, Orion Pictures and stuff. And they put out films, and it didn't matter what level of studio you were, your films were coming out. If you were lower tier, you had one or two big films that went into the cinema, the rest of them straight for home release. Mid tiers, maybe if you put out 5 films, 3 of them went in the cinema, 2 of them were home release. Big dogs, almost everything you put out goes immediately into the cinema, right? But you could get the revenue was coming because you had the film, then the film comes out, and then you have the VHS or the DVD or the Blu-ray release, and then again you were getting money, you were getting money at two different levels, 2 different stages. You made your money. Now, because of the way streaming is, you have cinema money, and then you have streaming money.
Mm.
And the problem is streaming money is a continued cycle because people pay for their streaming every month, every month, every month. You can't guarantee people are going to the cinema every month, every month, every month. And then you can't guarantee that even if someone likes the film, that they're going to purchase the film.
Mm.
So that second tier payment is gone for all intents and purposes. Right. And the problem is if say hypothetically it happens, Netflix buy Warner Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
then eventually give it 10 years, you'll just have Warner's back catalog. When all the other licensing and streaming deals are gone, you'll have Warner's back catalog on Netflix, and it will be the same as like 20th Century Fox.
Kind of like WWE.
Well, look at that,
their
right?
Back catalog on Netflix.
Yeah, but the thing is, you look at like we'll say 20th Century Fox. Most of their back catalog is on Disney Plus, right? Now it's fine because Disney are still a studio that make films and put films out, but it's like most people forget 20th Century Fox existed.
Yeah, true.
You think of X-Men, who Marvel and Disney have not made an X-Men film. But when you think of X-Men, you think of Disney now.
Mm.
And it's just going to get to the point where Superman and Batman and The Hobbit and, films like that are going to become synonymous with Netflix. And unless Netflix are going to suddenly decide, you know what, now that we own you, we now have a stronger branch to put films into the cinema, it's just going to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. And then it's going to reach a point where cinema is non-existent. Cinema will always exist, but cinema will basically turn into what theater is.
Yeah.
Purists go to the theater. They don't give a shit. And you'll have purists like myself, like Sash, like yourself, who will go to the cinema to watch films. But it's going to be like, how if you live in a small town, you maybe have to go to like the closest bigger town to watch a film.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like. It's going to be like right now, I think of like the area I live in, and there's like 3 cinemas within a 20-minute distance.
Yeah, same.
It'll be like there's one cinema, and that one cinema is like half an hour away.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, we can get into it in another show. I just wanted to it come out just after me and Sasha not finished recording last week. So Sasha, we'll get into it at another date, mate. We'll get to hear your views on Warner Brothers, because that's going to be like a good half hour, 40-minute show.
Yeah,
but boys, it's been a good, another marvelous Monday. So some news coming up for Completed It. We have got a horror special dropping this Friday. So glad Neil is back for this. Couldn't really do a horror special without him. We're kind of horror virgins, me and Sasha. We're kind of like, we're sprinkling.
Not anymore, you know.
We're just doing our hair and putting on our aftershave and going out into the horror world. Whereas Neil has been there for a long time. He's like that old vet saying, you don't want to pull that bird, you want to pull that one. Anyway, we're going to get into that later in the week. That show's going to drop Friday. We've just booked a great guest as well. If any of you are 90s kids out there and watched a certain Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and Zordon is joining us David Fielding, who played the character Zordon in the 90s phenomenon. Let's say Power Rangers took over the world at some point.
It
I
did.
remember USA, UK, everywhere. So David Fielding is going to come sit down with us for 30 minutes, 40 minutes in the next week or so. So that will be up on the channel. The horror special will be up. Anyone who wants to check us out, just go to YouTube, type in Completed It Pod. You can find us on X at Completed It Pod. But we will be back on Friday with our horror special. But till then, everybody, thanks Neil, thanks Satch. Till then, everybody, stay safe.
Feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of daily life? Struggling with anxiety, stress, depression, phobias, fears, or just trying to get yourself back again? Discover the transformative power of focused solution hypnotherapy and counseling. Through guided hypnotherapy, relaxation trance allows your subconscious mind to access your inner resources and strengths you didn't know you had. Book your free consultation today and let's start your journey together. For more information, please email Sharon at scm-therapy.me